Homura makes a small connection with Madoka's mother at the end of the original series, and Madoka's mother, Juko Kaname, even comments to Homura that if she had a daughter, she would have given the same ribbon that Homura is wearing in her hair to her actual daughter. This moment of the two connecting sort of creates a potential scenario of Madoka's mother helping Homura deal with the loneliness that she would inevitably feel after being separated with Madoka and becoming Devil Homura at the end of Rebellion. Juko doesn't remember Madoka because of the law of cycles, but somewhere deep inside, there's an echo of her lost daughter's existence. It's almost like a flicker of maternal instinct, a trace of the bond that transcends Madoka's divine erasure. And it also highlights Homura's search for human connection. Homura has always been isolated by her secret, her mission, and her own emotional barriers. This simple, kind comment from Juko pierces through Homura's loneliness, even if just for a moment. It's one of the few instances where someone outside the magical girl's circle offers her warmth without knowing her burden. Now, the question is, could Juko have actually saved Homura from her loneliness? I would say yes, and here's how it could have realistically unfolded. I could see Juko Kaname becoming Homura's surrogate mother. Imagine if Homura had continued to visit Junko, subtly drawn to her because of that fleeting connection. Juko, with her strong, grounded personality, might have sensed Homura's loneliness beneath the stoic facade. Their bond could have evolved into a mentor-mentee relationship or even a mother-daughter dynamic, filling the void Madoka left behind for Homura. Now, the two having this sort of dynamic is also interesting because Sayaka had commented that the way that Homura walked in episode 1, she looked like a woman of importance and actually came across as being businesslike, which is interesting because Madoka's mother is a business-oriented woman. So the way that Homura carries herself and the way that Juko Kaname is, it almost makes you think that the two could have had some sort of really interesting relationship where maybe Homura could have been some sort of successor to Juko Kaname's place of work, like, because Juko Kaname had this desire of wanting to become the big boss, and maybe Homura could have taken over the business for her after Juko Kaname conquers the workplace. So that could be part of what their mentor relationship could be. And considering that Juko Kaname is obviously somebody that has a lot of motherly wisdom and compassion, when you think about how Madoka turned out and how loving and compassionate she is, this is literally the type of interaction that Homura could have really benefited from. Like, Juko Kaname could have melted the ice in Homura's heart, which is something that Homura could have really used in shining light into Homura's life. Perhaps Juko unknowingly feels a strange protective instinct toward Homura, not realizing it's because her soul still holds an imprint of Madoka's presence. It's funny, there's a lot of symbolism between the ribbon that Homura has and the connection with Madoka. In some ways, it's the ribbon in a way signifies the idea that Madoka still lives within Homura. This is actually emphasized in the Wraith arc when Homura actually gains Madoka's power in the form of her bow after she's given this ribbon. Homura's descent into despair and eventual becoming Devil Homura was fueled by isolation and obsession. If Juko had been a consistent presence in her life, offering real-world advice, warmth, and tough love, Homura might have found stability outside of her fixation on Madoka. She might have actually developed a normal life. To be honest, this sort of dynamic could have also taken place in the original first timeline when Homura was still Momura. It would have been interesting if she had met Madoka's mother during this time when Madoka died. To be honest, this would make for an interesting ending if Madoka Magica were to ever end completely, and if for any reason Madoka and Homura could not be connected by the end, for whatever the reason may be. I could see this being very satisfying if Homura and Madoka's mother somehow develop some sort of a connection. I could see this being a very poetic and bittersweet way that the Madoka series could actually end in a fourth movie continuation or beyond that. Juko is a living fragment of Madoka's humanity. Her expressions, gestures, even her outlook on life mirror what Madoka inherited from her. In interacting with Juko, Homura could have experienced the comfort of Madoka's essence without the supernatural baggage of it all. She might have even had an opportunity to become a big sister to Madoka's little brother, who most likely would have grown up to resemble traits related to Madoka as well. Part of me wonders if, in a very strange way, the creators might have been hinting that they may have potentially considered going in this direction at the end of the original Madoka Magica series. We have to keep in mind this is before Rebellion was created, so it's nice to imagine that maybe this could have been the original vision that the creators had for Homura. And what hurts the most about all of this is the fact that this almost happened. That tiny interaction was a fork in the road, but Homura, in her grief, couldn't allow herself to form new bonds. She chose to carry the weight alone. Now imagine if she didn't. She might have never become the devil she did in Rebellion.